All right, everyone. Today we're replacing the struts and sway bars on a 2016 Hyundai Elantra. I got a tire blew on the highway, and it was a sliver of the highway, and I had the kids in the car, so I couldn't stay on the side of the highway with my kids, having to get them to school, so I had to drive off the highway on a blown tire, which then damaged. I was riding on the rim, so it damaged the strut, and now this is creaking and making a ton of noise, and it's not going to be safe after a while, of course. So I need to replace this strut and sway bar. Sway bar here. This is the strut, and I've got the wheel off, as you can see, and I'll have to disassemble all of this, but the strut connects up above, which is underneath here. And you have to take this whole panel off. So first you got to take the windshield wipers off, because you can't pop this panel off without doing that. So we're gonna take this off. I've already unscrewed the nuts on those, and these will just pop off. We'll take this off, and then the strut access for the top will be up here. So once I get everything disconnected down there, I will come up here, unscrew this as I'm kind of holding down below, and that strut will pop out of there. And we will replace it with this new right strut, and then the left one is there. It comes with sway bars and everything, and we will be back in business here shortly. So I'll kind of show you more steps along the way once I get this wheel, or once I get the hub disconnected from the strut. We'll take a look at that. All right, people, I have detached the hub from the strut. That's now the loose strut. Next is to come up there and detach it. I have already removed this whole panel up here, and these are the 3 nuts that I gotta loosen up and detach. You see that's already labeled right strut. So once I detach this, remove these nuts from the bolts, it'll just drop through, and all I gotta do is put the new one up there, screw it in at the top, not completely tight, just as you know, just snug, and then I'll tighten it down after the hub is connected back to the end of the strut down here. So not too shabby all in all. I had an issue with the sway bar here. You see the sway bar is hanging down there, connected to the strut here. That bolt, or the nut on the bolt, was it tightened down, but when you loosen it, it was getting stuck on the bolt, and so I had to take a torch and some PB blaster and some WT-40, sprayed those 2 on, let it sit for a minute or 2, and then I took the torch and I heated that nut and bolt up pretty good, and then I was able to loosen the bolt on the nut. And I will probably have to do the same with this, because that one was really hard. It won't even loosen. So I'll have to do the same thing with that most likely, so that I can loosen that one and replace the sway bar, because I got new ones that came with my struts. And you generally do not just want to put an old sway bar on a new strut. That would be stupid, honestly, just worthless, because they're cheap, and if you buy them all together, they come in a package all together anyways, like mine did. So this is not too difficult. If anybody ends up having to do this, it really is not that difficult. I'll show you when I get the new one on the next steps. All right, there is the old strut, and although it may be hard to tell where the damage is, it's going to be internal with the spring, you know, like with the springs and the absorption. That's where the main problem is going to be. It's not going to really look much on the outside. It's dirty, but you can see that it is out, and that really took, like, honestly, 3 minutes to get out. Once I had it disconnected, it was just a matter of the 3 bolts, the 3 nuts up there, loosening those. And when I took the first 2 off, loosened the last one, and then I just held with my left hand, because I'm right-handed, left hand held on to the strut down below, And then my right hand up top, I was taking that last nut off so that it didn't just drop, right? And then you just hold on to it and guide it out. And there it is, and we'll put the new one in. That'll only take a few minutes to get it screwed back in the top. It'll take just a little bit longer to connect the wheel hub back to it. But we should be back up and operating in probably 20 minutes. Not bad. All right, so I got the new strut back in here, and this just confirms what I was saying earlier. This sticker, it says spring under compression, do not remove nuts, serious injury may result. They're talking about this nut that's under here, because there's pressure inside this, and that is what can get damaged by excessive pressure, like your tire blowing and having to ride on the rim, having to ride on your actual rim of your wheel. And with all that pressure on that rim, it's going to jack up your strut and jack with the pressure in here, and it's going to put too much pressure on your strut. It's going to damage it. So I put these in here. They're just tightened by hand at the moment. I'm going to take my light here. I'm going to reconnect them, reconnect this, spin this around, reconnect this back to the hub here. This just kind of spins freely around until I can connect it. Put the big old bolts and nuts back on here. Get everything, get the new strut, or the new sway bar. I'm gonna have to detach that old one still, and put all this back together and put the wheel back on, and we should be back in business. But as soon as I get this connected back to the hub here, and these tighten down, the bolts on here tighten down, I'll come back up here and I'll tighten the ones up above. I want to make sure this is all together first before I tighten that up there. Because sometimes if you struggle to get it connected to here, you're gonna have to loosen it up above a little bit so it has a little more leeway. Because once you get this connected back in and you tighten up there, it'll pull it all back into place. So here we go. Okay, so I got the strut in, and the sway bar over here, the new one. So the old one, you might have this problem with the old sway bars. The nuts on here can get fused, or they get to a certain point, they get rusty and they don't want to come off. You will have to do some PB blaster. It helps with like removing rust, and then also combine that with some WD-40. Just soak that, spray it all over there, soak it, and then take a torch to it. Just get one of those torches. Here, I'll show you. Just get one of these torches, get a torch top here, and just get one of these tanks of, what's a benzomatic? It's propane. And then here's what PB Blaster is. It's a penetrating catalyst, and you just spray it on there, soak it, spray some WD-40 on there too, and take that torch and heat it up nice and good, and then take your socket wrench to it after you heat it up for a while. Do it for a few minutes. That's going to expand the metal. It's going to get the metal to expand a bit. Then it will allow you to twist that nut off the bolt. I had to do it for top and bottom. The back's a little harder because there's not a whole lot of room back there, but I had to do it for both because it wouldn't go past a certain point on the threads, and it'll just keep spinning the nut and the bolt because these have joints on them. This one was tougher than the top one on the old sway bar, but that's how you're going to get them off. I've learned doing this before on another vehicle. I tried to use a nut crusher thing where you put it on and try to break through the nut. You crank it down and it splits the nut, but all it did was just mangle the nut on the bolt, and then it was a nightmare to get off. That is the best way. Some PB Blaster and some WD-40, and take a torch to it, heat it up really nice and good. But be careful with your touching it, it's going to be hot. So just put your socket wrench on there and twist it off. One of the other things too is when I put the new one on, obviously this new strut is fully extended when you get it. It's not compressed. So how you do that, and the best way is to have a jack stand. Get one of those, or if you have 2 jacks, that'll work. But a jack stand, so I have 2 jacks. I have this one, which I love, and then I have your typical jack that will come in your car. And so I just put it up under here and the other one, and I just twisted it just a little bit at a time till it came up, because this wouldn't fit in. It was just a touch lower. And so when you lift it up, it compresses the strut back in, and then allows just enough so you can slide that in and bolt it down. So you come across that issue where this won't go in, you put it in up here, and then the bottom is too low. You want to jack this up just a bit, so you can put it in there, and once you get it bolted down, you can remove that from underneath. Now I already test drove this, and I put the wheel back on and I test drove it, and most of the creaking is gone. So the most of the problem was in the strut that got damaged when the tire blew, and I had to drive on the rim for a little bit of a distance to get it off the highway. But now I think the problem is the control arm. This is the control arm, and it's probably the bushing back here that's causing creaking, or the bushing up here, right in there, that got damaged because of the weight. To replace the bushings in your control arm, you would need to take it to a mechanic shop where they have a really heavy press, a metal press, and that's going to cost a lot of money. You would actually save a heck of a lot more buying the whole control arm with new bushings in it. So that's what I'm going to do next. The creaking is extremely minimal now, but obviously I don't want more problems to occur. So I can go on Amazon right now. I can order a good part for this, for the right control arm, and it's like $45 for the whole entire thing. You buy the bushings by themselves, you're probably paying around 30 something for the pair. And then you're still going to have to go to a mechanic's shop and have them press these old ones out and put the new ones in. So it is far less expensive, and you can take this out yourself. These are not difficult to take out. There's a bolt up there, a bolt down here. It's less complicated than replacing the strut. So if you replaced this and you still hear creaking, it's probably your control arm bushings, and just get a whole new control arm with new bushings installed. They'll be factory installed as they should be, and it'll be a much easier repair. There should be, like I said, it's a bolt there and it's a bolt here, not too difficult, and you can just replace that and you should be good to go. So I just wanted to show you pictures here of the bushings, the front and the back. They are clearly damaged, and that control arm is going to be replaced. So I ordered on Amazon a new part, actually both of them, for $74, so I can replace both sides, just so I have new parts on both sides. And that's the best way to go. So I hope you guys found this useful in fixing your vehicle, and I hope you have a good day.